pre-Theology Beer Camp is going to go.
That's right. Well, let's just keep talking about some of the other things we have offered and see if Matt can join us. One of the things I'm really looking forward to is Melissa Owen Stewart,
Yep.
and Deanna Young are doing a combo session. Melissa is one of my current doctoral students. She's writing on Christian nationalism and open and relational theology, and it's just a fantastic dissertation. I can't wait for her to defend it. And of course, the Christian nationalist stuff is so much in our consciousness right now. Melissa lives in the Baltimore, D.C. area, and so kind of has, is in close proximity to all the action. Plus, she comes from a pretty hard right-wing background, so has a history of dealing with that. So that's going to be a fun talk. And then Deanna Young, who also finished a dissertation with me, is taking on a new topic. She is a strong critic of omnipotence, but now she's going to feel her way into figuring out atonement theory in light of open and relational thought, which is, one of those things you've wrestled with, I've wrestled with. We continue to try to come up with good language to make sense of things. So that Deanna Young, Melissa Owen Stewart session, that should be fun.
That should be fun, man. I love all that. I love both those ladies too, and that'll be super interesting. Guy mentioned that Matt is still live on the other feed. I don't even know how that's possible since I stopped the other feed, but
wow. Thanks, Guy, for letting us know, or actually Tony.
Tony, he goes by Guy, either one. Okay, I'm going to, as you're introducing the next person, I'm emailing Matt.
Okay.
And telling him to try again.
Yeah. All right. So another session, since I'm just plugging them away here. This one's an interesting one, too. Some folks know John Pohl, Pohl's work. He wrote a really cool dissertation on, I was going to say the genome, but it's the biome.
Microbiome.
Microbiome. There we go. And his specialty is in microbiome issues. Kind of, we'll say his specialty is in the hard sciences because he reads and writes widely in the hard sciences. He's teamed up with Chris Hansen, who does therapy with children. We'll call it the soft sciences. And Chris has wrote a great book called Open and Relational Parenting. That should be a fun session looking at scientific issues from, quote, the two hard and soft sciences.
Right. Well, and also Chris is a pediatrician, so.
Right. Yeah, I forgot to say that. Yeah, pediatrician. Yeah.
And John's book is fantastic too, so that'll be fun.
Yes, yeah. In fact, I was going to plug Matt Siegel's Substack when he was on here, since I read his pretty faithfully, but
Me too.
Chris Hansen just came out with an essay on his Substack, again, on open and relational parenting. I can't remember the exact title, but he's got a series of those. If folks are interested in what open and relational thought might have to contribute to parenting, then we could check that out. And we got Matt back.
I was just hosting solo for the last 5 minutes.
Honestly, that would have been a better show anyhow. We should have just...
Well, someone in the chat told me you two had started a new live session, so I jumped over.
Awesome. Thank you.
I have no idea because that's what they said over here too, but I closed that out, so I don't even know how that works.
I guess because it was running on my channel. I don't know. I was talking about solitude in my solitude.
Oh, well.
Well, you were also, just before we switched out, you were making a distinction that I think is super important, Matt, about God evolving. One is the notion that our ideas about God evolve. And I think for most people who've been around the block a few times, that's not too hard to stomach. Hopefully our ideas change to a certain degree, maybe even radically sometimes, but at least to a certain degree. But of course, what you, Whitehead, and Tim are going to say is that there's elements about God or the divine that actually change, not just our conception of it. And I think that's intriguing, trying to tease out what those might be.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And Whitehead has this way of allowing us to recognize the eternal aspect of the divine, as well as the growing, historically evolving aspect of the divine. And it's still not clear to me how the two really integrate, but at
Yeah.
least there's the acknowledgement that we need an image of the divine that has both. And I say image advisedly because it could be that conceptually we're always going to be stuck with this coincidence of opposites and a seeming paradox and an inability to understand intellectually how God can be both eternal and historical,
Yeah.
or how even just in Orthodox Christianity, I mean, how can God be both infinite and embodied and particular? So whether you're a process thinker or theologian or not, you still have to deal with the limits of rationality. And so I think Whitehead gets us as far as you can go with rationality, as many of the great theologians have done. But for God to evolve, to me, it just means that there's a real relationship there between God and the world, and between human culture and the evolution of human consciousness and the divine. And God's not just outside and above of all the change that we obviously go through. And so
Yeah. Just real quick, and we won't hold you much longer after all this shenanigans.
After your solo hosting on the other
It was-
channel.
One of the things I think that this has been a criticism I have of Whitehead, which, I don't always criticize Whitehead, but I think his use of the word nature when he talks about consequent nature has been part of the problem, since nature has typically been more equated with eternal objects, essences, those things that are unchanging. And then to say God has both a consequential nature and a primordial nature sounds like, well, nature's doing two different things there, and it's confusing to me, at least. Have you thought much about that, Matt?
Yeah, I've thought a lot about it. Nature implies like essence, and in Whitehead's thought, essences become a little bit difficult to affirm because everything's in relationship to everything else.
Right.
And clearly, he wants the two divine natures to be related and to require one another in some sense. It's just like every actual occasion has a physical pole and a mental pole. The divine has these two poles, which are necessary ingredients in its concrescence, in the divine concrescence. And so, yeah, we can definitely. I think there's room for improving Whitehead's language, and even improving his scheme of categories. And I don't think that he intended his process theology and his vision of the divine to be some finished system, or even ultimately coherent. I mean, he admits in some letters, that he's not sure that it is. So there's room to riff on Whitehead's views here, and I hope we can do some of that at beer camp.
Yeah, let's count on it. When you were on the other channel, I was bragging on your Substack. So let's close with that. Man, I really like your Substack, man. I read lots and lots of Substack posts, but I think I read yours the most carefully of any of the others. And I just want to give a plug for that. Tell folks the name of it so that if they want to join, they can find you.
Oh, I appreciate that, Tom, very much. It's called Footnotes to Plato. Whitehead's famous comment about all of European philosophy being safely characterized as a series of footnotes to Plato is my Substack handle. So appreciate anyone who wants to come read my stuff. Thanks, guys, for the invite. Glad I could drop in with you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thank you. And have you been to Theology Beer Camp before?
No, Tripp has been asking me for years, and I'm finally going to do it this time. So can't wait.
I know, man. That's great. Well, we look forward to having you, and we'll have to hang out when you get here. Thanks for all your work. All right. See you, bud. See, it's not that hard when technology works.
I love it. Well,
Yeah.
looking at some of the other options here that we got going on.
Well, maybe for new people, you want to just read through the list again real quick. And
oh, yeah, I'll do that. You mean like of all the things that are going?
Well, the people that we said on the other feed that we lost, and then we
Oh,
got new people. You know what I mean?
let's
Like,
see.
bring us up to speed.
All right. So far, we've talked about sessions at the pregame for Theology Beer Camp, one session on preaching featuring Casey Sigmund, Tim Settle, Brian Zahn. We've talked about a session Adam Clark's doing on liberation theology, one that Andrew Davis and Ilya Delio are doing on Teilhard and Whitehead. Another on neuro-relational theology, Shalene Kendrick and Jill Benaglio. Chris Hansen and John Pohl are doing something on what I call soft and hard sciences. We've mentioned Melissa Owen Stewart and Deanna Young in a session. They're looking at atonement and Christian nationalism. This Evolving God one with Tim Miller and Matt Siegel. Then the ones we haven't covered yet, still in the making, is one on climate change and ORT that Janelle Apps Ramsey is putting together. I think Grace Gison Kim is on board, and I think Ilya Delio. So that'll be a powerhouse session if that
That's
all
a
comes
decent panel. Yeah.
together.
And Grace is going to speak at the UMC church I'm a part of right now.
That next day?
On Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. That'll be cool. Hey, and I won't be offended that you forgot to mention me and Tori.
No. Oh, that's right. In my summary, yes, I forgot. I forgot that, and I also we haven't talked about. I'm going to do a session on my systematic theology of love, and
That's right.
I've asked some critics to come at me. Nancy Howell, who's a theologian at St. Paul School of Theology. Steve Watson, who just published his book
Brand new book.
called what's it called? Something Shalom. Why
All
can't I think?
flesh shalom.
Shalom. All
Yep.
flesh shalom. And then Angela Parker, who was a biblical scholar at Mercer, and I think now she's moved to Garrett Evangelical. She'll be on that panel as well. I don't know what her criticism is going to be yet. Actually, I don't know what the other three are. I know that Steve is a little bit wary of systematic theologies in general, but that should be a fun session. And then we've talked, Rethinking Faith panel. Sherry Kling edited a nice book earlier this year, I guess it was, wasn't it? Or maybe it's in the last year.
Last year, yeah.
Last year, okay.
Yeah.
In which open relational process folks are exploring a wide range of issues related to faith. And she's pulling together a panel. I'm not sure who's on that panel yet, but should be a fun session.
Yeah. Yeah. The book's called Renewing Faith. And so I think she's invited a few authors that are a part of that.
I think other than that, the only thing we haven't talked about is whether or not Curian, PEC, Good Table, New Evangelical. What's the latest on that possibility?
Yeah, we're still talking. I think something will probably happen, but not enough right now to be able to advertise it much. Other than one of the sessions will be around some of these organizations who are helping systematize, credential, resource, endorse pastors and chaplains. We definitely needed that, and you and I are part of the Curian network. We didn't know we were going to be a few years ago, but other networks invited us to leave. And so we went and started our own thing. And it's hilarious because, it was not a bucket list thing. I never imagined anything like this would be happening. But we're 501c3, obviously. We are recognized by the National Board of Chaplaincy. We're endorsing, credentialing pastors. Now we do pensions and benefits. And we have churches joining us. So the Curian Network's really a fun thing that we're getting to do.
All right, two other things. These are kind of outside the box. Not that what we said so far is just, ho-hum, everyday status quo. We're always outside the box. But
that's right.
Two other things. The Seattle school is going to do an interesting lunch experiment's not the right word. Experience. There we go. Which they're going to talk about not shame, but disgust.
That's right.
And that's an option for folks who come. I think that's going to be made available when you register. I think we're still working on that, aren't we?
Yeah.
And then you're bringing on an artist named Calvin Arsenio. Is that right?
Calvin Arsenio. That's right. I just pulled up his bio.
Okay.
He's a world-renowned harpist. He's a Black, queer singer, grew up in the evangelical church. Obviously, that didn't last, although he was there quite some time and tried to help change it from the inside. But he's also an author. He's a fantastic musician. He's got a little music hall here in Kansas City that actually Fred Herron and I and others, but Fred is the one who introduced me to Calvin, have done some ORT things in. And so, yeah, we just invited him to sing a few songs. He's so good. He should do the whole thing, but we just, we don't have all day for that, but he's going to come
Yeah.
be with us.
Speaking of Fred Herron, did that thing with he and Andrea Martinez come together?
Not materialized yet, but we're
Okay.
hoping that Fred can get with Andrea, who is an immigration attorney here in Kansas City and who was featured on the Netflix documentary that was produced by Selena Gomez.
Oh, huh.
But, yeah,
Interesting.
I know
You know,
Andrea's a really, really, really good person, so hope
maybe
that
we ought to shift into our home shopping network and say, you would probably think a day like this would cost you $599 or maybe
Yes,
$299, but today and
today.
all the way through the next few months,
Mhm, right.
this pregame event is a mere 99 bucks. I think
That's right.
the beer camp is what, 300, 350 now? I
Yeah,
think the
might be,
early registration was, yeah, I don't know
you know
what is, but you're getting more for your dime in the
Mhm,
pregame. So
mhm.
make
That's
sure you
right.
come a little early. We started, I think, 9 o'clock on Thursday morning, the 8th. And just for an extra 99 bucks, you get all the kind of stuff we've been mentioning.
That's right. You get a lot for your money, but of course, we only exist because of the good graces of Trip Fuller. So
That's right.
he should charge whatever he wants, and he's worth it.
That's right.
And his lineup, if people haven't seen it, it's nuts. Cornel West, Diana Butler Bass, Bill Leonard, Kristen Dumais, Robert Jones, Juan Floyd Thomas, Stacey Floyd Thomas, Jamar Tisby. Of course, LA, we already talked about. Gary Dorian. I mean, it's crazy the amount of great people that are going to be there. And we are super honored to do the pre-Super Bowl, the pre-Theology Beer Camp on Thursday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's going to be fun.
It's going to be a great 3 days. And those folks like Matt, who's never been there, are going to find out that you show up and you're hanging out with a bunch of other nerds. And, you don't have to explain the word eschatology or whatever. And there's
You might have
organization.
to explain what an IPA is, though,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
to to people
We
like you and me.
That's right. We should say that. There are always people that go to theology beer camp who don't drink any alcohol,
That's
and
right.
there's in fact some years I think there's even a little AA group or something
Mhm,
of folks who
mhm,
go. But
mhm.
I go and have my tea or my Gatorade or whatever, so you don't have to be a beer lover to go to theology beer camp.
I went crazy last year, and I had a glass of cider.
Aha!
Yeah, it had some alcohol in it, but some kind of cider thing, and that's all I know. That's all I could tell you what it is.
There you go. Trip usually puts together some skits, usually brings in some musicians. And, you and I have been sponsors over the past years, bringing in Sacred Sage Press, which you and I work with, and the Center for Open and Relational Theology, the Northwind Seminary doctoral program. But that's just a small taste of the organizations that show up. And that means, cool people from cool places are also hanging out. So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
a fun time.
Yeah, maybe we should close by just sharing what some of our favorite moments have been at Theology Beer Camp or pre-TBC. Um,
Yeah.
and I will just say, yeah, the combination of fun and expansive theological thinking, grace, intelligence, and now friends
Yeah.
at this event, it's really unmatched by anything else I will do all year.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the things that's the most enjoyable for me, and I think it's the most enjoyable for the people who I engage with, is when someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, I've been reading this in your book. What did you mean by this?" Or "I don't
Yeah.
agree with you about that." And so they get the opportunity to ask me and lots of other scholars who write books or on podcasts. They get the answer to look them in the eye and ask them the tough question or whatever. And that's thrilling for me as the author to know that people are reading, but it's thrilling, I think, for lots of folks to have that real one-on-one engagement with ideas that actually matter in the world.
Yeah, to do it in person with real live flesh and blood people and not an avatar like this on Substack Live is it's really, really fun. So I highly recommend everyone join us at Theology Beer Camp. And then obviously you might as well come a few hours early the day before and do pre-TBC with us with a strong lineup of people that we went through on 2 different Substack Live conversations today because something happened when Matt Siegel got on. Technology went cray-cray when that happened.
I'm
I don't
guessing some of these people are saying, well, like, where do we go to register? And I
Yes,
think the answer to that is that link isn't quite up yet on Theology Beer Camp. Is that right? I
man,
haven't seen it yet.
you would think, that you and I would have confirmed that before we did this, but,
Well, we're sending them all those photos of our
yeah,
contributors, which is like, what is it, 16, 20
yeah,
photos? It's a bunch of people.
it's a bunch of
Uh,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, so
So
if people just go to theologybeer.camp, that's where the main, URL is, and I'm sure our pre-TBC stuff will be up there. Hopefully, a lot of pictures of you will be up there.
I know what let's do. Let's put pressure on Josh Patterson and say, that link will be up there before July 1st.
Yep, you heard it here first, people.
That's right. Uh,
Rethinking Faith podcast, and Josh, Patterson should have that up before July 1st.
there you go.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that covers it. It was a lot of fun talking with you, and I'll see you, I guess, in a few weeks out in Wyoming at your Open and Relational Theological Conference.
Yeah, thanks for coming out and helping with that and for the Curian Network and helping do their part. But we got more than 40 people this year and
Right.
headliners including John Sanders and Nicole Trubitsky. And if folks still want to come, you could probably register between now, maybe the middle of June will have to be the cutoff, but
Yeah. There'll be less alcohol, but more mountains.
that's true. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thanks for hanging out. Hope everyone gets to come to pre-TBC, and we look forward to chatting with you in person.
All right. See you later.
See you, bud.